Hello there, this is John Munter from northern Minnesota again. Thanks for coming to see my farm and Gospel of Thomas. After this session, you should be able to, or possibly would be able to jump ahead and using my technique, decide for yourself what these sayings mean and come back to me and see if we disagree or agree with them. So we'll recap briefly here. We went to saying 4 last time, which is the breast of the Holy Spirit, the place of life for the 7-day-old child. And we learned in number 5, saying 5, that it really gnosis is divine love. And this is what we're experiencing here, and even in our work life. And saying number 6, going about our work life, do not do what you hate, do what you love. Number 7, talking about the religious tradition. There we're told to digest the lion of the religious tradition, to make it human, to make it inside of us, an inside experience to transform religious tradition. Then the question comes up, the next saying really is a natural question. Well, but isn't some religious tradition good? Aren't there great ethics and morals and service work that's being done? And who am I to put myself, my interior experience above the corporate religion? So we read in number 8, and he said, "The man is like a wise fisherman who cast his net into the sea and drew it up from the sea full of small fish. Among them the wise fisherman found a fine large fish. He threw all the small fish back into the sea and chose the large fish without difficulty. Whoever has ears to hear, let him hear." So this is speaking obviously metaphorically about whoever has ears to hear, let him hear. And the big fish is really the higher self. Some people could call it Jesus, some people the higher self. We learn later in Thomas that it's really both. They're really not really much difference between the higher self and Jesus. And so it's talking about throwing the little fish back. And the obvious normal question from that would be, well, if you put all the little fish on a scale over here and you put the big fish over here, wouldn't you get a whole lot more fish if you kept all the little fish? And so we go to number 9 to answer that. And Jesus said, "Now the sower went out, took a handful of seeds and scattered them. Some fell on the road. The birds came and gathered them up. Others fell on the rock, did not take root in the soil, and did not produce ears. Others fell on thorns, and they choked the seeds, and worms ate them. Others fell on the good soil, and it produced good fruit. They bore 60 per measure, and 120 per measure." Wow, that's an incredible increase in produce. 60 times, or 120 times. And that's the point Thomas is making, as that the higher self produces 60 and 100 times greater produce than all these little rules and regulations and laws and things that we follow. All right, so what do you mean? I mean, what kind of produce? What is this produce? Okay, that's the normal natural question. Number 10 we read, Jesus said, "I have cast fire upon the world, and see, I am guarding it until it blazes." Okay, so it's just a little fire here. But what is the fire? Well, is it fire and brimstone? I don't think so. Fire of the Holy Spirit, I would say. And so Jesus is talking about the Holy Spirit, Sophia, wisdom that we remember back in saying 4 and 5. And until it blazes. And what is this? And in fact, this is my maple syrup fire here, by the way. A little fire in here and some pans of sap, and all of a sudden I've got 10-20 gallons of maple syrup here. From something that doesn't look too, we didn't make any syrup this year, but it's kind of overgrown. But this is a simple thing that I use here. So let's look at number 11. We have a normal natural question. What is this blaze of fire? I mean, practically speaking, okay? And Jesus says, "This heaven will pass away, the one above it will pass away. The dead are not alive, the living will not die. In the days when you consumed what is dead, you made it alive. When you come to dwell in the light, what will you do? On the day when you were one, you became two. When you become two, what will you do? This heaven will pass away as the earth right here. And the one above it will be the astral plane, which is not particularly spiritual, but where ghosts live and that type of thing hang out. But there's a third realm above that, which Jesus is talking about, which is the higher self, the realm of light. The dead are not alive, and we know a lot of people walking around, the living dead, who are not really alive, and the living will not die. And so the Holy Spirit that you experience in this life will also be with you in the afterlife, because it is real. The days when you consume what is dead, like food, you made it alive. When you come to the light, what will you do? So it demonstrates a tremendous freedom of being in the light. On the day when you were one, you became two. So when you became one with your higher self, you really became two. You became a physical body, and your higher self became aligned. But when you become two, what will you do? And so when you truly integrate your higher self, what will you manifest on this planet, spiritually and physically? So then the obvious question is, well, that sounds really great, but I don't really get the picture here in terms of what this actually means physically. But we'll have to cover that in the next session, because there's always more. So get my book, The Integral Gospel of Thomas Made Easy. I recommend it not only because of the sayings that I'm going over now, but I have a whole big long introductory paragraph or chapter that deals with Christianity in the first century, the conflict between Roman Christianity and Syrian Christianity, where it was really a debate and discussion going back and forth there with a number of these gospels in the first century. And you can also check my website, a lot of free material there, www.themirroredbridalchamber.com, and have a great day.